Pretty women don't have to try, they just do. They just do naturally. You don't have to try to be beautiful. You don't have to try to be liked. You don't have to try to be seen. You will just do these things naturally. Being beautiful is definitely something that if you are that, you should use to your advantage. And don't let anyone try to tell you that putting that as a priority is vain. Because the reality of it is, if they were as beautiful as you, they would be utilizing the same tools that you had. I had someone tell me specifically, if I was as skinny as you, I would do this. Or if I looked like you, I would do this. Mind you, this was someone who was jealous of me. And I had suspicion of it, multiple times. But I kept trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because they were someone that I knew. They were someone I spent years around. And I just felt like, okay, well, the jealousy can't be that much of a threat or it can't be that much of a big deal. It is. Look at my most recent, I'm sorry, look at my oldest videos, and I've talked about that. How once you see, you suspect, or you confirm that someone is jealous of you, you cannot continue to be friends with them. That's definitely something, if you find out someone's jealous of you and you decide to continue the friendship or even the relationship, good luck to you. I would advise against it. There have been so many times I have suspected, confirmed, and knew that someone was jealous of me, whether it was a friend or there have been even some times where I've been in relationships with people and they would say a slick comment here or they would give a weird glance there and I just brushed it off. But when the dust settled and I confirmed that they were jealous of me, and it was over, you should see how nasty they get. So definitely take that into very strong consideration when someone shows you they're jealous of you. Cut that off and move forward. But back to the main topic. As the beautiful woman, as the diamond and the main character, you don't have to try. You will just do. And I will say this. There have been times in my life where I go through kind of ebbs and flows. And I noticed every time I tried significantly harder to accomplish something that I was already accomplishing by doing not necessarily the bare minimum, but what felt comfortable to me. And for others, that was the minimum. And when I say that the diamond or the beautiful woman doesn't have to try, she just does. Because you just putting effort and showing up, although it may seem like it's the bare minimum to others because they have to go above and beyond to have, they have had to have things work in their favor, you can just do things naturally with leisure and ease and it flows to you quicker. And I've noticed that within myself. When I try to force and, try, like when I used to try to be the boss babe and hustle hard and put all this effort and energy into things, I, one, was burning myself out, but two, it was almost counterproductive. I was putting all this excess energy into accomplishing something, but I was producing less fruit than when I was doing it casually and at my leisure. And this is more to piggyback on the video, um, femininity is power. Femininity is power. Doing things from a space of ease, leisure, enjoyment, or hobby will always produce significantly more fruit for the feminine woman as opposed to doing things out of rushing and trying to essentially, like I said, be the boss babe. And the boss babe archetype is I have to go, 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 go. I have to compete with this. I have to do that. I have to hurry this. I have to do this. You can still be a boss and not have to perform at the rate of others around you and still surpass them. If you are a feminine woman, and I'm talking about this comes naturally to you, and even if it doesn't come naturally to you, you force yourself in a space where you realign your nervous system, you realign your ideologies, you realign your thought processes to operate in femininity. When you do that, you will realize that working extremely hard is always going to be counterproductive and is going to work against you. This has been proven to me time and time again. I even wrote down because I love journaling. I love writing things down. That's my form of manifestation, is to have things physically, like a hard copy, not digital, but a physical hard copy, whether it be a vision board, whether it be a planner, whether it be a journal. And I remember I wrote down, and this is so powerful, and this is why I made a video about scripting. And if you want to see a part two, comment that down below. I've written things down and forgot about it, and I go back to it, and what I said or what I wrote down has happened. So one thing specifically, I wrote this down, and it was about 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I wrote down, I live a I live a easy and soft life, and I do not have to work hard to enjoy life. And I wrote down further, I explained further about the things that I was experiencing in my life. 2 years later, what I wrote down is what I'm experiencing. I live an easy and soft life. I do not have to work hard to enjoy life. This week, I'm probably going to only spend 3 days out of 7 days this week working. Only 3 days working. And even then, the work that I do, it's not hard. It's actually something that I enjoy to do. And I still get to live a great life. I wrote this down over 2 years ago, and I'm currently living that. I spoke that over my life. I live an easy life. I don't have to work hard to enjoy it. I live a life of leisure. I started aligning myself with the more feminine side of me, and that's what caused me to be able to enjoy this part of my life. You do not have to try, you will just do. You do not have to try, you will just do. As the feminine woman, as the diamond in the main character, I want you to realize how powerful you are in being a feminine woman. I've always been very girly, love pink, love Barbies. I love dresses, skirts, florals, perfumes. I used to get made fun of this when I was younger. I loved to sleep, and I was used to get made fun of by family, not necessarily friends because they didn't know this, but family because obviously I live with them, and I was always called lazy for it. When I tell you, being a feminine woman, you love and you will value rest. And as I've become an adult, it's not necessarily sleep that I like, but I do love going out by the pool, going to the beach, finding a nice coffee shop. Even when I go shopping, I'm walking there very slowly. I love to take things very slowly and at a leisurely and relaxed pace. And that is what being feminine is about. There was this time when I was working, and there was a woman who was maybe about 30, 40 years older than me. And I could tell she was something serious back in her day. But, when you're not the main character and life happens to you, you decide to kind of let it happen as opposed to being the main character and deciding, no, I'm going to orchestrate how things go down. But she was one of the women that, even though she could have been the same amount of she could have been in her later years what she was in her earlier years, yet she did not understand how to do that. So, as time passed on and she became older, she saw younger women as an issue. Younger women who were beautiful, younger women who took pride in their femininity, younger women who carried themselves with grace and carried themselves with beauty as something they were proud of. That was an issue for her. And as I was saying, we were working together. And like I said, even now at this adult age, I still love Barbies. I actually still have some. That's something I like to do. I collect them. And I always pick the Barbies that resemble me, very thin, very, very girly, I like the Barbies that are always dressed up. And it's my thing I like to collect. I think it's cute. But way back when we were working together, I had a Barbie lunchbox and a Barbie coffee cup. And it was the cutest thing. And it was so funny because there were some of my coworkers who thought it was adorable. Mind you, the other coworkers who had the feminine energy on them, they loved it. But the coworkers who did not have that feminine energy and they led with their masculine side, they always had something slick to say about it. So I had one coworker and she wasn't outwardly jealous, but I could tell there was just a little bit of a reservation. She made a comment about the lunchbox and was like, "Oh, that was something a high schooler would have." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, I love it. It's so cute." Another conversation. But there was one coworker that said something, and it just put me at such discomfort. I had to completely take a step back from her, like completely 100%. I had stepped to her because I wanted to ask her a question, and I was like, "Hey, such and such." And then before she even answered or acknowledged my question, she said, "You better watch that coffee cup because I will steal it." And I thought, what an odd thing to say. What an odd thing to say. Not, "Oh, that is so cute. I love that. That's adorable. Where did you get it from?" You you could as easy and as comfortable you felt to tell me, "Be careful of something because I'll steal it." Why did you not feel comfortable and easy to say, "Oh, where did you get that?" Because the coworkers who who liked the coffee cup or liked my lunchbox and thought it was adorable, their questions were, "Oh, where did you get that?" Not, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to steal that." You hear what, like, do you get what I'm saying? I never have to try to be feminine. I just do it naturally. The things that I find enjoyment in, the things that I naturally select, the things that I spend my time doing, it just comes naturally. You, as the diamond and the feminine woman, need to understand that the things that come naturally to you will be seen as a threat to others because you don't have to try it. You just do it. They have to force themselves to be a fraction of what you are naturally. And I say this to give you some encouragement and some insight and some advice. If you are someone who is naturally feminine, please don't ever lose that. Please don't ever lose that. There will be things that happen in your life, and it will honestly, more than likely, be an attack on that feminine aspect of you to try to take you out of that character. Because there will be people will see that and they will try to put you in situations that cause you to harden and they cause you to want to be in a more masculine energy. Do not allow that to happen. Continue to be in the energy where you freely receive and you freely live, you freely enjoy, because that is your strength and your superpower. I love you, Diamond, and I'll talk to you soon.